Good afternoon. Chibai, Kurumjari, Kinekase, Namaste, my beautiful, inspiring friends present here today. Hello and welcome to Her Tribe, a show that brings together inspiring women entrepreneurs from the northeast of India. Women who are breaking stereotypes, breaking glass ceilings, and putting the beauty and soul of northeast of India out to the world. The show aims at building a tribe of women entrepreneurs, enabling and empowering them to see themselves as role models and influencers in the region and build the ecosystem supported by its enablers. More than ever, today it is so relevant to create businesses that have a purpose to create a positive impact on the lives of people. And in order to accomplish this, it is important to create an environment that creates equal opportunities for all genders and all regions. The role of women in our society has changed drastically in the past few decades, and I'm happy to say it's been for the better. Gender stereotypes that were prevalent in the society decades ago are breaking slowly and steadily, and today I'm in the august company of some sparkling women breaking those stereotypes. But I'm sure you would all agree that there is still a long way to go. Business experts have always emphasized on the fact that the world needs to support the development of women entrepreneurs. Studies have shown that women entrepreneurs have the unique tendency to build and maintain long-term relationships. Women have more effective communicational, organizational, and networking skills than their male counterparts. Moreover, the fiscally conservative approach reduces the risks of failure of their organizations. Women entrepreneurs can not only contribute to the GDP, but also play a key role in addressing societal challenges. A British Council study on the social enterprise landscape in India revealed that in comparison to male-led social enterprises, female-led social enterprises tend to focus on improving the lives of women and on education and literacy, leading to improved economic growth and stability within a country. Women in the Northeast have always played a major role as bread earners of their family. Being a conflict-ridden region for a long time, women here have learned to sustain their families in the absence of men who are taken to insurgency or led to drugs. With every household having a loom, a small or big kitchen garden, and a pond with plenty of fishes, they may not have been the biggest entrepreneurs, but have always been enterprising bread earners of the family with the famous all-women Ima market in Imphal. But sadly, all the northeastern states put together account for only 4% of the women entrepreneurs in the country. And women contribute only 14% of total entrepreneurs in India. Only 2% of firms in India have a majority of female ownership. About 73% of women entrepreneurs report revenues of under rupees 10 lakh per annum. About 71% of women employ around 5 or fewer people. Most firms run by women are micro enterprises, with a majority having only 1 or 2 employees or belonging to the informal sector. Her Tribe is brought together by Dhriiti, a social enterprise working in the field of entrepreneurship since 15 years. An organization specially committed to working with women entrepreneurs and the Northeast region. I'm a proud alumni of the We Can India Women Entrepreneurs Incubation and Accelerator Program, funded by US Embassy and the Sherry Blair Foundation, and implemented by none other than Dhriiti. In this series, Dhriiti will bring together some remarkable women entrepreneurs who are part of the Her and Now program, running currently for the second year, and other women entrepreneurs from the region who have created a mark with their businesses. Supported by GIZ India, Her and Now is an incubation and acceleration program for women entrepreneurs. I'm Vimla Rajkumari, your host for Her Tribe, a women entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience in media and founder of Visual Brewery, a video production house that works with corporates, startups, NGOs, and government bodies to tell stories that entertain, educate, and inspire audiences to take action. I'm based in Gurgaon with my roots in Manipur and Nagaland. I was born in Kohima and spent my beautiful junior school days there. A Meitei from Manipur, I moved to Imphal when I was in the 5th grade. But like most of us from the Northeast, I left Manipur after my 10th because Manipur lacked good schools, colleges, and career opportunities. And I'm sure all of you would agree. It's been 30 long years. And now more than half of my life I've been living here in Delhi NCR. But as I grow older, I have the strong yearning for home, the clean air, the beautiful landscapes, the 15-minute drive to a beautiful picnic spot, the healthy cuisine filled with endless green veggies and herbs, the juicy fruits, pleasant weather throughout the year. And I feel it's time I head back home and do my bit to fill the gaps that led me to leave home with experiences I've gathered over the years. T.S. Eliot said, "The end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." Dr. Michelle Bengston has 12 reasons to return to our roots. According to her, returning to our roots allows for understanding, accelerates healing, offers reconciliation, provides context, offers longevity. Returning to our roots affords the opportunity to learn and grow. It lets us appreciate the familiar, grounds us, inspires us, reminds us of our identity, helps us heal after loss, and provides connection and meaning. As I'm contemplating and planning, we already have some amazing women here today with me who've explored the world to arrive back to where they started. And we kickstart our series with the theme, Back to Roots. Let's hear the Back to Roots stories of our guests, besides the inspiring entrepreneurial journeys. Let's start by watching a short video on Rida Gatpo's enterprise, Dhriiti. Dhriiti was part of the Her and Now Acceleration Program, Cohort 1. Let's watch a film.
Dhriiti as a word, it means impressions of the hand. So most of our work is related with handmade. It's related with crafts, handicrafts. We started off with a very small, it's a core team of just 4 of us. The team is small, but obviously we are involving various clusters. So the people who work with us are quite a number. We are handling like around 30 women potters in Jaintia Hills. Then we have around 20 odd women in East Khasi Hills who does only the bamboo craft for us. We have about 5 women working on the pineapple. The business model of Dhriiti, since we are a small team, the approach is again very holistic. The model is we go there, we train the artisans, we come up with a range and we handle the production, we monitor the quality. Then eventually we do the packaging and we send it across. We started off in exhibitions and then after that we got few orders in stores. Now we have like 2 stores we are catering in Delhi, which is boutique stores. Then eventually we spread to Mumbai. We have 2 outlets there where we are on consignment, we are selling. And also we have another boutique store in Goa. Mainly we work with black clay pottery. Our range is mainly tableware and cookware. And again, we have another range of our instruments. They are like traditional instrument made in Wakhen. If you look at the instrument making in Meghalaya, it's almost a dying art because very few people practice. The Her and Now journey was very motivating for me. With the Her and Now, through these workshops, it was a very inspiring journey for me because I felt like it was a platform that introduced me to many other women, in the Northeast. And when I met them and hearing their stories, I was even more motivated. Maybe through these programs that we can create, we can kind of bring a change. With Her and Now, I feel it's going to really help a lot of people like us, support us, show us direction, guide us. We are looking at having as many artisans in Meghalaya to work with us. We want to train as many people. That would be our main focus, where we can be able to generate back these beautiful handicrafts from here and share it with the rest of the world, because what we have here is very unique. You have to believe in yourself. It doesn't really matter how small your dream is, but I think there's always a bright future when you have that dream in you, where you can move one step at a time. There's no race. There's no race here involved. One step at a time is enough. I'm Rita Gatpaw, and I'm a part of the Her and Now Acceleration Cohort based in Shillong.
Rita was supposed to be here with us today and share an inspiring journey of reviving the beautiful dying arts and crafts of Meghalaya by giving it a contemporary image and allowing the world to experience the beauty of Meghalaya. But due to some personal reasons, she's not been able to join us. But without any further ado, let's welcome our first guest, Elizabeth Yambe. Elizabeth is the founder of Dualities. She's an entrepreneur I truly admire for how she has been single-handedly growing her brand one step at a time with systems and processes, which I think is comparable to most corporates. I've been following her very closely. Elizabeth studied in the UK and has had a high-paying job at an investment banking firm in the UK, but she started yearning for home like me, but I think much earlier than me. And this, I think, was an utter shock for her parents. But one day she decided she will head back home, and Dualities was born. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us your back to roots story?
Thank you, Vimala, for your warm introduction. And hello, everyone. So Elizabeth here. I grew up in Manipur. And ever since I was a little girl, I have always loved to make people feel good through what I've made. For example, I remember I made my first packaged frozen juice. We call it balap over here. I was 12 then, and my first customer was a rickshaw man. It was a hot summer afternoon, and he had just stopped by, by a nearby shop to quench his thirst. And there my balab was for 1 rupee. So I would say that childhood memories like this, I feel that they keep coming back, and mainly to make me realize what simple joy was. And after all these years, I still feel that simple joy of serving our customers with what we have made at Dwella. So going back to the question, so growing up, I felt that the reality of the situation was that we had limited infrastructure and opportunities back home. And so I found myself very fortunate to have had the opportunity to go out, for education and job. And so I felt grateful for my first job I had in London and then in Singapore. But there comes a time when we start questioning ourselves, what is it, that we really want to do, and where do we see ourselves? And then I started to reflect back on my journey as a person. And like many other young people from this region, I realized that it had always been a default choice to move out of the state, for better opportunities, unless we had a stable government job. And that's when, I decided that I wanted to be a part of, changing the narrative of the place and the region that I grew up in. And besides looking at what we lack, I had to change my perspective over time and instead think about what we already have, what our local strengths are, and how can we capitalize on that and create quality opportunities for myself and others. And that's how I decided that, I'm going to come back and I would start with tea, because tea is one of the biggest strengths of the region. And it is a product that almost everyone drinks. But the challenge was there's so many tea companies and competitors in the market. And the question was how to create a unique value proposition. And then I simply had to, go back to my roots. And then the thought about, as a kid growing up, having these naturally grown indigenous fruits and herbs. For example, as a kid, haimang, which is known as sumac berry, I remember putting it, on my hand and licking it with joy and feeling so refreshed after having it. Or nongmang ka, which is traditional herbal medicine, where our grandmas would, boil the leaves of nomangka and serve, to help with cough and cold. So I felt armed with the traditional knowledge and practices, and that's how Manipur drew me back, and I got the idea to convert these unique natural produces that we already have into a convenient form of tea, so that anyone can feel a piece of Manipur and also sip the best of nature, wherever they are.
Thank you so much, Ellie. You're truly spreading the bounty of Manipur that we are blessed with, and sharing the simple joys of life. Okay, now let's welcome our next guest, Lalrin Pui. She's the founder of Blue Montes, Mizoram's cheese, as she calls it. Lalrin Pui is currently part of the Her and Now Incubation Program Cohort 2. Blue Montes was also adjusted promising ideas at the Mizoram Kailon 2019, a Mizoram Bee Plan contest put together by the Planning and Program Implementation Department, Government of Mizoram, and IIM Calcutta Innovation Park. Lalrin Pui, we know that you moved to the US with your family. So can you share what you remember of your childhood before you moved? At what point of time did your parents return to India? And when and how did you decide to return to Mizoram?
Thank you, Vimla. So I would like to say that I was born and raised in Mizoram, and but I did spend 2 years in Bangalore when I was 7. And my childhood here in Mizoram was pretty normal. It was a lot of playing with friends, and I was really involved with my community and the church. And also I was studying a lot, here in Mizoram. I think everybody wants you to have that good government job. So I think I was aiming for that. And I studied here until I was in 10th grade. And then after 10th grade, my family and we moved to the United States because my father was doing his PhD in counseling. And then so we moved in 2007. And then while we were there, I was there for 11 years myself. However, my parents, my mother and my father, came back in 2013. So after my parents came back, it was me and my brothers that we decided to stay because we were in the middle of our studies. We wanted to finish our education. So I was there, and I came back in 2018. I came back just to visit. My intention was to go back to the United States and join an MBA program there at Mount St. Mary's College. So it was just a short time. I said, I'm going to just stay here for a few months, and I'm going to go back, do my MBA. And however, that plan didn't work out, but I did, however, went back for a few months, and I came back again in 2019. So I spent 2018 and 2019 deciding do I want to stay in India? Do I want to stay here with my family, or do I want to go back in the US? So, but eventually I had that moment of realization that I was like, okay, I need to stay here. I need to be here in Mizoram. I need to do something for myself instead of just going back from one country to another. I think I should stay here, do something for myself and my society and my culture. So that's in 2019. I decided to finally stay here, and that's when I kind of started my entrepreneurship journey as well. So in 2019, that was last year. So that's when I decided to finally permanently move back to Mizoram and embark on my entrepreneurship journey.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us here. Now we will get some lovely cheese from Mizoram, and I think people in the Northeast won't have to really go far to get the cheese. Yeah,
I hope so.
So now next, let's welcome our next panelist. Our next panelist is Zenorin. Zenorin is the founder of Hillwhile, another business I've been following quite closely, and with huge admiration of the brand and how they've been growing the brand. Hillwhile was founded in the winter of 2017, selling chocolates from the northeast of India. And I always wondered, chocolates? But they seem to have had a really well thought out plan. Let's hear the plan and much more from you, Zenorin. Welcome to the show. Tell us the Hill Wild story and how important was it moving back to Manipur?
When it comes to about how I moved back and how important it was moving back, for me it was a lot of introspection of what I am actually doing in life. Because for a lot of people like me, being a diaspora of Northeast, staying in cities like Delhi, it was a lot of exhaustion for me. I was so fed up of Delhi that I had to leave everything and came back to have a more quality life. Because whenever I enjoy Delhi in a way that even the food is so tasteless for me, because I don't know who grows that, but when I compare with the kind of life I had in my town, everything was so much of flavor. The indigenous goodness that we have, full of flavor. That's when I dived into this food sector, saying we'll start with chocolates, we'll infuse it, we'll sell lots pan India, and we will do impact work. We will work with more farmers, and that's how we are diversifying farmers, inspiring chocolates, and empowering a lot of farmers, and especially indigenous people.
Wonderful, Zenorin. I think now you work with almost 500 farmers, right?
200.
200.
Almost
Okay.
importing a lot of people, yes.
Okay. How wonderful. So we've heard their coming back home story. Now let's go and talk business with all these inspiring women. Elizabeth, let's start with you. You gave up your job in Singapore. I'm sure it was not easy for you, especially I think your parents were quite taken aback when they heard your decision. And I think you also lived in Guwahati for a year working on your research. And I remember you telling me that was actually to stay away from the worry nag that was coming from your parents. So tell us more about the barriers that you met while starting up.
Sure. So firstly, I would say that giving up my job in Singapore was to me a natural progression in terms of taking action towards starting my entrepreneurial journey. And yes, instead of going back home straight to Manipur, I decided that I was going to stay in Guwahati, and mainly because I felt the need to create the right environment to start the business. Because at home, I knew that my family members were very anxious about the step that I had taken and start something, which didn't exist yet. So I would say that was the first barrier, because they were genuinely worried, and to the point of maybe sounding discouraging, but I had to be honest, because that's not always the best start, but I had to stay focused and also stay true to my path. And regarding the barriers, I would say that when I started, I had no prior experience, no background in tea, food processing, or packaging, and so I reached out to a number of experts in this industry for support. But majority of them I had to figure it out on my own through trial and error. So it was a time-consuming process to learn the details about setting up processing and packaging unit, what machines to get. And however, I really enjoyed the process, and I also tried to take it positively, by thinking out of the box, as I was an outsider to the industry. And secondly, running after the legal formalities, I think that was real pain, because I remember how many times I had to visit the government offices or municipality council for trade licenses, and one day delay led to another delay, and as these legal formalities were all in the checklist to obtain other licenses. So when I look back, I think maybe I was not so smart in knowing how things worked. For example, I felt extremely uncomfortable to pay under the table, to speed things up, to speed the process, and I did not. So I was focused on getting the paperwork done properly, when maybe I could have focused more on the business setup as well. So that could be seen as a barrier. after making the products, it was the selling part. So I felt my core competency was in product development, and after making the products, I just literally went store by store, cafe by cafe, to sell the teas in Guwahati and Shillong. So what I would say is that there were a number of barriers, and I think as entrepreneur, like a lot of things will happen, and we have to figure out, like, we have to find solutions to those challenges and to those problems, and that's how I have taken it at the end of the day.
When you talk about paying under the table, stuff like that, I think you did a good job by doing what you did. I think slowly and steadily we'll all work towards bringing about a change. And I think you guys are doing a very good job of breaking stereotypes, changing narratives. I've been following your brand quite closely, and you've been growing so beautifully over the years. Now let's move to Zenorin. Zenorin, why don't you share with us how easy or tough it is for you to stay? You are stationed in Ukhrul, and you operate out of Ukhrul, which is one of the remote corners of Manipur. So how easy or tough it is to stay there and take your products to the world, Zenorin?
Yeah, how easy or tough in remote place, of course, like when I started this business, I knew it's going to be very tough. And since the approach that we have is to have the maximum impact, especially in this community, even though we are expanding to other places in the near future for better access, now we are running 3 years. The initial 3 years have been quite tough when it comes to access, especially even internet access for that matter, even logistic access for that matter. For 1.5 years, the Indian speed post wasn't working well in our place, and it was very difficult to even get online orders. So what we do, we focus a lot on gifting platforms. We focused a lot on retail sales and also distributorship, but we were not catering e-com, even though we outsourced to other websites. So that was one of the this thing. But of course, as an entrepreneur, we are here to solve problems, and I'm very proud to say that one small tiny problem that we solve is that nowadays the Indian speed post work very good now, because even from by the post van.
Zenorin, you're breaking again. So can you just take us back from how the Indian about how the postal services now come to your town?
Yeah, so before it was it was not reliable at all. So basically now it's very reliable, because there are lots of small business owners like me who send stuffs to the main consignment office. That's why it's become really, really better for us, and that's how we have launched our own e-com and taking all the orders and sending it down regularly to individual customers. So yeah, I should say,
Zenorin, I remember you sharing with us how your business has changed that for your town. So just take us back to that again, because I think in between we lost you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have seen a lot of change in terms of ease of business when it comes to taking online orders. Now that we have the ability to send to post office regularly and without any delay, a lot of small business have also started mushrooming up, especially during this pandemic, so that they can send their products through the speed post. And that's how we have been working regularly. But that doesn't mean that startup like ours have eased out this ecosystem, even though it's still a huge task to do even now. And of course, even with the connection right now, it's still difficult, and we have reached a stage where also we have to venture out in a place with more access in terms of connectivity also. I think that sums up what I was trying to say.
What an amazing work you're doing, not only growing your business, but growing the community around you. I think that's how together we are going to change a lot of things for the Northeast, a place that is we are blessed with nature's bounty, but we do have our own bottlenecks, and I think slowly one step at a time, we will together make a change. Pui, I think let me call you Pui, that's easier. Pui, let
That's
me come
much
back.
better.
Yeah. You're positioning Blue Montes as Mizoram's cheese. Tell us why cheese and how have you planned out your brand journey? What do you think your brand will do for the local community?
As I have mentioned before in my previous discussion, I have said that we started my entrepreneurship journey in 2019, late last year, and so late last year? Sorry, why cheese? The reason I wanted to embark on the cheese journey is because when I came back home, I was I'm living with my family, my mother and my father. My mom is a great cook. She loves to cook. She loves to bake, and so she would send me to the store to buy cheese so she could make cheesecake. And every time I would go and buy cheese, I realized that the quality of the cheese that we have in Mizoram were not as good, because I have had great cheese before, back when I was in the US. So when I came back, I was quite disappointed with the quality of cheese, and then so I asked the shop owners and the people who were selling cheese, like, why do we only have processed cheese? Why can't we have fresh cheese? And everyone told me that most of the cheese, like I would say 99.9% of the cheese that we consume here in Mizoram were imported from other states. A lot of them were importing from states such as Pune and Orissa. So I was quite surprised that there were no cheesemakers here in Mizoram. There were no fresh cheese. So that got me thinking. I was like, if people are starting to consume cheese because the changing habits of Mizoram is changing as well. They're starting to buy cheese to make cheesecake. People are they're starting to eat pasta with cheese and everything. So I was like, the eating habits are changing. So people are importing more cheese. So why can't we? My question was, why can't we have our own cheese maker here, or why can't we start our own cheese making here in Mizoram? So that was the problem that I saw was there were no cheesemakers, but people were, the demand for cheese was really high. So I saw the problem, and then for me, I was like, if I'm embarking on this journey as an entrepreneurship, why don't I do something that that I can solve? So I was like, there's a problem. There's the lack of cheese, cheesemaker, and the solution for me was I can make cheese. So I saw that I can support, the local community, the local stores, like restaurants, so that I can supply to them. So that was why I decided to do cheese. And then, sorry, what was the second question?
I think you covered it, but let me ask you: are you trained for this? How did you choose to do cheese? I believe you said you're not trained in this.
Not at all. So my background, I have a background in marketing and sales back when I was in the US. But when I came back here, since I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I was like, I don't have to have an experience to do something, because everything is a journey. You learn on the way. So that's for me what I have been doing is I'm learning as I am starting this journey. When it comes to cheese making as well, I have learned so much. I have started making cheese from home. I have sold a couple of cheese such as cottage cheese and cream cheese, paneer. I have sold from my house. However, when it comes to big manufacturing, in order to supply all the stores and stuff, I don't have the services. I don't have the supplies for that yet. Why cheese? Because I love cheese, and I feel like Mizoram needs to have our own cheese maker. As an entrepreneur,
how do you plan to tackle that bit?
So it is all about, for me, it's all about putting myself out there and also getting my name out there so that I can get the support, people who are experienced in the cheese making industry. I'm reaching out to people, and also to tackle the cheese making part, I have actually reached out to a guy. His name is Imran Shaleh, and he's actually based in Pakistan. He's doing exactly what I am trying to do, which is to make natural cheese. So I have talked to him. I have sent him emails. I have asked him how he makes his cheese. Although he did tell me how he makes his cheese, but he doesn't tell me like, all his secrets and stuff. He said cheese making is an art. You need to learn it yourself. You need to find out what works for you and what works for your business. So for me, I'm tackling through, every single day. It's like just connecting to people, reaching out to people, so that, I can get some education and I can also get some training as well.
Wonderful. As entrepreneurs, I think that's what we need to do, grow our network, reach out to people. Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Now let's move on to our next session, which is each one of you have lived in the city and have returned to work in your home state. Let's talk about the opportunities and challenges in this journey. What is that specific city experience that you bring to your local business?
So let me just backtrack a bit. So I lived in Atlanta for 11 years. Atlanta is a capital of Georgia. It's located in the Southeast USA. And what the city told me is that if you want something, you have to get it yourself. You have to go out there. You have to find your own way, and then you have to do it yourself. I say that because when I was living there, and it wasn't easy because I was just there after my parents left. I was there with my brother, so I had to work to support myself, to pay the bills. I have to work to put food on the table for my brothers and I. And I was also a full-time student as well. So then I was like, instead of relying on support from my parents, I really need to put myself out there and find work, do some odd jobs so that I can, help my brothers a bit and also help myself. And so with that mentality, after I came back, I realized that I'm in this cheese journey and there's no one who is doing cheese here in Mizoram. So much from my experience here in Mizoram, what I can do is that if I wanted to make cheese, so I have to go and get it myself. I have to, start the journey myself and connect with people, reach out to people at the same time, work hard at the same time with a positive mindset. That's what I brought back, is that work hard, have a positive mindset, and don't expect other people to do things for you. You have to go out there and do it yourself.
And what do you see your business doing for the community?
So what at Blue Montes, what we want to do is support our local dairy farmers, since obviously we have mentioned that we're making cheese. So the cheese needs to come from milk. So we have a lot of dairy farmers here located in Dhriiti area. So hopefully the Blue Montes will be able to provide a source of income for these dairy farmers. We hope to get milk daily from these dairy farmers so that they can support their business, support their family. And also, once we make the cheese, we hope to have stores. We hope to have our stores, have our products so that, they can also earn money at the same time. We hope to work with distributors so that we can distribute to different parts of Mizoram as well.
That's wonderful. And how would you like to contribute to the Northeast? I think it's not only Mizoram that lacks good, indigenous cheese, but the rest of the Northeast also. So how would you like to contribute to that?
Hopefully, we hope to influence other entrepreneurs as well, because I know, like in Nagaland and in Manipur, there are a lot of dairy farmers. So hopefully, the people from those states will be able to utilize the milk that their state produce and hopefully make cheese of their own. It's I don't want to be, I would say, although I may be the only cheese making here in Mizoram, I hope that other states will follow as well and make their own cheese, so we can have a healthy competition in the Northeast, and we hopefully we'll be able to export to not just in Northeast as well, hope to export it to other Indian states as well. So for me, as an entrepreneur, I hope to encourage other people to join in the cheese making industry, and as a business, hopefully we'll be able to grow and also help our state's economy as well as our Northeast economy.
What a wonderful spirit. Thank you so much, Pui.
Thank you.
Yeah. Elizabeth, coming to you, In your experience, can you tell us, is there a glass ceiling for women entrepreneurs from the Northeast?
I would like to think that there isn't a glass ceiling because choosing the path of entrepreneurship is about firstly facing rejections and carving your own path and also paving a new path for others. But this is honestly not to undermine, the real challenges and struggles that, that women go through, like especially at a cultural, societal, and even family level. So, for example, so in order to, I'll just give an example about my journey. So in order to increase, dweller product and brand awareness, I opened the first dweller cafe in November 2018. And the question was, apart from tea, what food items should we offer? And then it goes back to, what do we stand for? We stand for uplifting our local strengths. And again, it was about going back to the roots and starting to question, why is it that our local snacks are only sold on the roadside? And honestly, for me, the thought of elevating these snacks brought me joy that I didn't realize that it was perceived as something very embarrassing to do at that time. But the point is about, doing our own thing.
And today you have made Kangho Bora of Imphal as glamorous as a MacD or a pizza. You really changed that. So yes, that's wonderful. You had, the Ellie continue, and also I remember you sharing with me that having the cafe was also part of your marketing strategy. So if you could also just share that with the audiences here.
Yes. Firstly, I had to look back at what my strengths and development areas are. And for me, my main strength was in product development. And I thought, how do I, try to minimize that gap when it comes to sales and, brand presence. And I thought that the best way to introduce dweller tea is by making them experience it the way that we want them to experience. And that's how I got the idea of starting dweller teas. But again, people wouldn't just come to the cafe to have just tea. They would want something, to go along with it. And that's how we were able to, to strengthen our brand identity in terms of our focus and what we stand for, and to make it, wholesome. And since opening the first cafe, we've opened two more. Two in Imphal and one in Shillong.
And what are your plans ahead?
So right now, what we've mainly focused on so far is to have a sustainable foundation, have a sustainable base, recurring base, I would say. And we've just everything that we have done so far has been, I put my savings into the business, and we've been able to organically fund our growth, and we've just upgraded our factory to double the production by next year. So we are looking at putting our products in more locations, and looking at also opening up more dweller cafes.
And in this age when everyone is looking for funders, I believe you were offered some funding by Startup Manipur, but you did not take it. Can you share that story with us?
Right. I think there has to be a purpose in terms of why you're seeking the fund. So for me, it's about having a strong reasoning why I need that fund. So I think that I am going to wait for the right time to get it. But maybe, I come from accounting and finance background, and I think I have been able to, I've been focused so much on trying to manage my finances wisely, and since putting my savings, I have not taken loan or outside investment yet. So because we've been able to grow year on year, we've just reinvested our profits back into the business to fund our next growth. But I would say that time will come when we might have to look out for that. Yeah.
A lot to learn from an accounts person for us other entrepreneurs. So would you like to take the question on how can women entrepreneurs use the Northeast Network to take the products to the world?
Firstly, despite having, connectivity, issues, I think that I think that there has been improvement. Like, for example, when it comes to shipping, from Manipur itself, there are so many courier services now that are operating from right here that we can ship daily.
Elizabeth and Pui, can you share with us, what is the advice you can give to anyone who's planning to come back to the Northeast and start off a business?
Mm-hmm. Pui, you want to go first? Or?
Yeah, sure. So from my experience, if people want to come back to the Northeast, what I want to tell them that just because you're coming back from a foreign country to your hometown, or to, like, let's say for example Mizoram, it doesn't mean that you are a failure. Because a lot of people think that giving up a good job or giving up a good university, giving up a lot of money and coming back to your roots, it doesn't mean that you have failed in life. It just means that you're going to start fresh, and it's a different journey. And I think that if you're coming back here and you're already here, I think you should be very thankful to have such experiences, to go out to the world and see all those people and have all those experiences. And then if you come back, please take that experiences with you and help our community and help our society, help Northeast India, because we really need you here with, if you have high education or if you have a good work experience, we really need you here to, to develop our states, so that we can put Northeast India in the forefront of India. Let me repeat that. Like, just because you come back home from a good country or good job, it doesn't mean you're a failure. I know people might say that. People might think that, you're not taking good opportunity for yourself. You're not working hard for yourself. It doesn't mean that. Just do what makes you happy and just work hard. So just, try to be try to help your economy. That's what I want to say. I hope I'm not all over the place.
No, you made some very valid points. And I as I'm also contemplating moving back, it's so inspiring to see you girls do such an amazing job and change so many things for the better. And I also feel it is, it is so important for us to go back to our roots after we've traveled and gathered experiences. It's good to come back and share those best practices from around the world and change the things that needs to be changed here. Most of us, at least Elizabeth and me, we left our hometowns to study outside the state because of lack of good schools, colleges, and career opportunities. And I think it would be really nice if we come back and start closing those gaps. Yeah, Elizabeth, let's hear it from you.
Yes, I agree. I agree with Pui as well in terms of utilizing or making use of our experiences outside, the insights that we've had, and trying to use that for good, back home. And it's not as glamorous, or it's quite tough actually to start a business, especially to adapt to a new culture as well. And I would say that first is to have a clear reasoning, why you want to start this business, or why you want to do what you want to do, and to think like as Rida mentioned in the documentary. I couldn't complete it that time, to think step by step in terms of what are the basics that needs to be covered in order to keep going up from there. So for example, if you're in product business, think about the product aspect, the packaging. Think about getting the basics right, and then use that as, you know, as your leverage to grow and create new opportunities. Because at the end, we want to do a lot of things. And what I realized from her and now as well is that the business has to do well, it has to succeed so that we can create more impact, back home. And so to have a balance of everything. And I think that our heart is in the right place. So I mean that in itself is a great fuel in our daily life.
Yeah, I think to identify our whys, our purpose, and then work out the different steps, I think is would help all of us. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. I think we have Zenorin back. So, yeah. Zenorin, can you share with us how can women entrepreneurs use the Northeast Network to take their products to the world?
Thank you. Yeah, I will be sharing a little story about us, how we have faced certain issue, but now possible to export our products to the US. So we since 1.5 years, we started working for a certain product with the whole village for the production and to export. And again, when the pandemic came in, everything became so difficult, especially with the paperwork and especially with our export license. It was, work after work and work after work, unable to travel. But then, of course, even being located in a remote place, now that everything is communicated by email, everything is done by, technology, it becomes much easier for us to connect. And it was quite early, of course, but then the possibility of sending our raw materials, sending our fresh produce to US has given an impact to a lot of farmers because it's fetched much better on a consistent basis. So this is one of the breakthrough that we have just endured recently. And this kind of thing, it was networking. It's not like the buyer came out of the blue, but it's out of networking for a year, especially for this product. And that's one of the short story that I would like to mention and share here. And a little bit about, encouraging fellow women or fellow entrepreneurs, fellow friends who are out there who wants to come back. I feel like right now is the right time to actually come back because, a lot of local movements supporting the local, starting from our own parents, starting from our own colleagues, a lot of people have been really supportive because if I started this business 5 years ago, I might still be struggling more than I am now. But with the support of a lot of the whole state actually and a lot of youth taking up agriculture, entrepreneurship, I feel like it's a good time. And we have a lot of resources when it comes to raw materials, when it comes to skills, when it comes to crafts. We have a lot of opportunity that, if we are not responsible for not taking opportunities, someone else who's not from our state might. So this is, I feel, a calling for everyone who's somewhere out there stuck with our own jobs. I think the success of our homegrown brands is one of the greatest testimony that, we entrepreneurs feel in this ecosystem of, calling other fellows outside there to also come back and join and build the ecosystem together.
So beautifully put, Zenorin. I think you've summed it up and put it out for all of us so well. This is the time to come back. And with your experience, Ellie, what kind of advice would you like to give anyone who's planning to come back and start something here? What are the steps one should take to ensure the journey is smooth?
Firstly, I don't know if the journey will be smooth. So I think to be prepared for that, because a lot of things at the beginning will go wrong and you have to figure out how to make it right. So to have that mindset at the beginning itself, and especially when we are out and then when we come back, a lot of things change, right? Shops close much early over here and working hours are shortened, but it's really up to you in terms of how you navigate around it. But majorly in terms of coming back to do something, it's a bit tricky to say because it really depends on the nature of the activity, or the product or service or the business. But overall, as I've mentioned, that to have a clear why in terms of why you're doing it, because there will be a lot of challenges, but to have that motivation, that drive in you to keep going, to keep continuing, I think that is what that is the how to say that would give you that fuel to find solutions to any challenges that come through. So Jay, I hope that I'm not repeating, because I had already mentioned in terms of having a clear reasoning for your business.
I think you've very put it out very clearly for all of us. Life is not a bed of roses. We have to learn to take every step with a smile and find a solution whenever we hit any roadblocks. I think that's what life is, right?
Yes, and also I just realized to have people to talk to, because sometimes it can be
so that's what I
that
just
people may not be able to right.
Yeah, and this is for all three of you. How important it is for women entrepreneurs to find their tribe, and how can a tribe help women entrepreneurs grow? Because I have been growing my small little tribe, and I think that's such a big support system for me, and also my sounding board. So I'd like to hear from you girls. Yeah, Ellie, you can start.
Sure. I think when people get together, we start talking, then we can connect and find things. For example, I think it was 2 years ago when Sanarin, myself, and Richana from Kumantham, we met in Guwahati. We had gone for an entrepreneurial event. And there we just discussed about, creating a Made in Manipur, gift local made event, where we could actually, get together and promote all local made products, especially during the gifting season. And we did that at Dweller Cafe, and that was something also promoted like all other local products, and that was a way of finding a way to grow together, and that has been like a recurring
building a tribe and growing together.
Right, and that has been a recurring theme every year. But overall, I think when we have challenges as well, we want to talk with our fellow entrepreneurs, because they've also been in that situation. There are not many people who can understand where you are and how you're feeling, how you're taking it. And sometimes you all need somebody to talk to and to find and to seek advice as well, or to have somebody to listen to. So I really do feel that it's something that is so intangible but so important.
So well said. Pui, let's hear your views.
So for me, it is very important to have a tribe, because the people in your tribe knows people who know people who know people who, and they can connect you to a wide array of like people from different fields and industry, and those people can be of guidance to you. So for me, I started this journey. When I started this journey, I heard about this business plan competition that my friends were organizing. They didn't know that I was going to be a part of the competition. So they found out after I have entered the competition, and I was in the top 40. And then because of that competition, like the Kailon competition, it has really catapulted my entrepreneurship journey to what it is today. It was that journey, that small little Kailon business plan competition, and then after that plan, I have met so many great people who have connected to me to different government departments, and in terms of let's say getting your documents done. I have met so many people who lead me to the right direction, because I had no idea what I was doing when I started. I still don't have any idea now, but it's much better than when I started, because now I know some people, I'm connected to Her and Now tribe who have been tremendous help for me and my business. For me, my business is all about I am so I'm so into like connection, the importance of connection. I'm gonna mention this every single time I'm talking, because it's not what you know really, it's who you know. So it's so important to be connected to a tribe or connected to a certain community, because those people will be there for you when you're going through hardships. And even, you know, if they are there when you're starting from the bottom, then they will be there when you're, you know, successful. And hopefully by then you'll be able to give back to them and, you know, support their business as well.
Wonderful. You've put it so well. It's so important to network and learn from each other. And also, I think it's also good to get critical feedback from the tribe. We should not always be looking at a pat on our back, but we should be happy to get critical feedback as well. Let's hear from you, Zinorin.
Hi. You know, for me, like number one is like networking, because all this business that I've built, majority place is what networking it is. And another thing is mentorship. Like, I'm so glad to be mentored like by someone I look up to, and it's been really rewarding to have mentorship. And another thing will be having your own group, you know, especially entrepreneur group, where you can share your frustration. Because running a business, it's really frustrating. It frustrates you to the point of losing your mental sanity, you know. So there's a lot of saying that, you know, especially I'm a married woman. I hope there are some married women in this group who are married and running a business. So when it boils down to marriage, you have a lot of responsibilities. You know, it's not just you alone, it's the whole ecosystem of two families coming together and everything. So this puts a lot of weight down. And I would like to say that, you know, married women running business is not successful, it's a myth. You know, women who are married can be so fearful and be running business and be successful. So these are the kind of our own niche group that we also need, where we just, you know, sometimes share our frustration, you know, be there for each other. Otherwise, it's a lot of mental blocks, you know, because you see, we are a small business, and a lot of people have you know, ordered from Amazon, Flipkart, and they get their service instant, but they cannot expect that service from a small business. You know, these are some of the usual day-to-day experience that we face. So this are another thing.
You're losing you again, Zinorin. Zinorin, you're breaking up again.
Yeah, so, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, to have your clear why you're doing what you do. You know, like for me, when I run this business, I want the indigenous products to have a power name in the industry, in the food industry, that, you know, the farmers have the power. If you see champagne, if you see limoncello in Italy, the growers there are so powerful, because these are the only producers you get in that place only. Like that, if our products, indigenous products, are appreciated at global level, I think my whys and my battle of proving that why is almost done. You know, so start an entrepreneur, to start an impact work.
You're breaking up again, Zinorin.
I think I've just completed sharing almost everything.
Okay. And I think you did share some very, very valid points. You also mentioned about married women running a business. I think there are quite a few married women here, and we know the challenges that we face. But you also work with your partner is your husband, right?
Yes.
So how easy or difficult is that? Zinorin, we can't hear you. So I think what we are going to do is we will move on to our final segment, so that we can take questions from our audiences if there is any. Before we end our conversation, let's hear from each one of you. Where do you see your business 5 years from today? And what are some of the support or policy changes you'd like to see from policymakers for you to accelerate and achieve your goals? Pui, would you like to start?
Yes. So hopefully in 5 years, Blue Montes hopefully will have overcome the failures, the disappointments, and the hardships. So hopefully by then we'll be able to overcome, and we will have kept going. And in 5 years, hopefully again we would have our products in the storefront. Stores would have our products stored in their shelves, and people will be able to enjoy the cheese made by Blue Montes. Like as I mentioned before, in 5 years, there'll be other cheese making companies in the Northeast as well, that we can grow with and compete with in a healthy way, so that we can improve as a business. In terms of policy wise, I don't really have much idea, because since we are like the first cheese making company here in Mizoram, there are not many rules that we have faced, or problems that we have faced regarding the policies and the laws. But hopefully, I know that once we grow as a company, and we're starting to export and distribute more products into like different parts of India, we'll face some problems. But hopefully by then we'll be able to solve those problems. Yeah, that's what I have to say. It's like right now I think everything is not smooth sailing because of COVID. I know the business will not be like success right away. There will be hardships and failures, but hopefully we'll have enough passion and positive mindset to overcome all those problems in 5 years.
Okay, yeah. Ellie, would you like to go next?
So, firstly, 5 years, a lot of things can change as well. But right now, I do see that Dweller being the local brand for the national market, and the international market. So I see Dweller being present in metro cities, and also in the European and US market. But then there's a long way to go for it. I do see that there's a lot of work that's needed in order to make that happen. That's one. And regarding the changes that I would like to see, first is to focus on, for the government to focus on the infrastructure development, and fix the connectivity issues, and the other is that we've been talking so much about improving the ease of doing business, and having startup policy in place, but the formalities and the processes of actually setting up, I think, not just in paper, but it has to be, much more smooth, in practice, at the ground level as well. So those are the changes that I would like to see.
Wonderful. And I'm sure, with your, how you go about doing everything with due diligence, you will achieve what you dream. Zinorin, are you ready to take that?
Yes. So in 5 years, we see our products being placed in specialty stores pan-India, and hopefully at Whole Foods in US. That is our 5 years plan. And then when it comes to policy, we want the government to protect the indigenous foods. We need protection, and that is one of the policy we have been trying to influence locally with the local organization too.
Wonderful. That's such a lovely ask that you guys have, and you're already working towards it. So wish you all the very best. And thank you, Pui, Elizabeth, Zinorin, for this very wonderful session, sharing your inspiring journey with all the audiences here today. Let's see if there are any audiences who'd like to ask you guys any questions. Can I ask our audiences to switch on their cameras? And if you have any questions to ask, please feel free to do so. Just put in your questions in the chat box. And yeah, I'll put that across to the panelists. You can mention who is the questions being addressed to, and I can put it across to the panelists. Any questions? No questions as yet. So okay, there is a question, but I am not able to see the whole thing. Entrepreneurship. It's usually a government job that is the first choice. Have you had instances, Zenorin, would you like to take that question?
Okay, hi. Yeah, thank you for the question. Of course, like I personally have a lot of instances where people just don't understand what am I doing, and that was in the first 2 years. But now in the third year, we have had run a platform where Made in Ukrul is there, where we cater to local entrepreneurs. We meet time to time so that a lot of local entrepreneur mushrooms up here. And through this platform, we have around 70 micro entrepreneurs based in Ukrul doing food allied services, crafts, and that way micro entrepreneur works. And it took us almost 3 years for us, to actually convince their own family that they can actually live on having their own business. So that is one small breakthrough that we have had done. And even to this point now, some people surprisingly just sometimes ask me if I am actually surviving well. That is their mindset. But who are we to prove to anyone when we are content ourselves doing our business? So it's a long battle. It's a long road to actually convince everyone. But if you can convince your own siblings, if you can convince your own parents, I think half of the job is done. But of course, there will always be a question that people sometimes don't even respect you, don't even understand you for what path you have chosen.
I think going a little deeper, I think we do not need to answer to anyone. I think we need to answer to ourselves. And if we've answered to ourselves, I think I think there's nothing that can stop us, right?
True.
Yeah. So now this question is to all the panelists, and okay, wait. Okay. So Zenorin, please highlight the challenges you face as a married women entrepreneur, and how did you overcome that? This is from Marina Kumanthem.
I have to cook for everyone. I have to be the first in the office and have to close the doors. And these are endless work that, only a woman can understand. But I have negotiated with my husband in such a way that he's the one who cooks for me while I'm at the office, and we interchange. So it's about husband and wife, I think.
Yeah. So breaking a lot of stereotypes, changing narratives. That's what we need to do, right? And right. You're doing that really well. Again, I've lost my question. Ritu, can you just type it in? Okay. So yeah, were there any barriers that you faced because of your gender? And this is to all three of you. So Pui, would you like to start it?
Yes. So since I am in the cheese making industry, it involves cows. So a lot of people, what people have told me is like, you're a girl, you shouldn't be working with cows. That's reserved for the men. And for me, I think that's like the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. It's like, just because you're working with cows doesn't mean that you have to be muscular, you have to be a man. I think you can break barriers with that. Maybe in the past or in our society, most of the people who are dealing with cows were men. But times are changing now, so just because, it's like a hard work or it's going to be like a dirty job doesn't mean that the men have to do it. I'm ready to get down and dirty, just for my business, just, and also for like, if I want to do something, I have to do it. I'm not going to reserve everything for, the men. I'm okay to get, dirty and to work with the cows. So those are like the barriers that I have faced. Is just like people kind of like judging me and telling me that I can't do it because I'm a woman. Yeah. I'm sure like Elizabeth and Zanarin also have like, their own share of thoughts regarding that as well.
Time to stop hearing what others say and start listening to ourselves. I think that's what we need to do. Yeah, Ellie, would you like to take that?
Right. I mean, it's very similar. I mean, the question is, when because you're a woman, you may not be taken seriously, or they may think that what you're doing is more like a hobby. But again, it's to stop listening to all of that and focus on what we're doing and what we're passionate about. So I mean, I also feel fortunate that I've always felt that I've had the same opportunity, as men, and there's not much more to add to, what Pui already said in terms of, the judgment and just trying to ignore that and doing our own thing. And also, I'm single. I'm very much, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, time is stop listening to others and listen to ourselves. The most important thing. Yeah. So Zanoran, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, the barriers, because of gender is that I just block my mind, because here it's so patriarchal that, if a woman tends to, overpower the husband in terms of work, I'm the bad girl, But in the work that we do, it's not like that. It's about who is doing what, what kind of passion that person is running to. So I just block my mind from all these gender barriers and all these, gender judgments. I just tell them, men also eat the same food as women do.
Yeah, like I say again, let me repeat. Let's start breaking the stereotypes. There's nothing like this job is for a man or this job is for a woman. I think it's how we find our balance. Like I'm also a businesswoman, married with 2 kids, and my business partner is my husband. And I'm the one who is the face of my business, and my husband is very happy to support me from behind. My husband is very happy to be in the kitchen and cook for the family, for me and my boys, because he loves doing that. So yeah, I think time we start breaking stereotypes. And I think we have a question. Entrepreneurship is for those who come from family with good financial background. Common comments from my friends. Please comment on this. Zanoran, would you like to take this?
Yeah, I have had comments like this from my friends too. And these are the kind of friends who have never done entrepreneurship actually. So doesn't have any weightage. And of course, entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily come from a good financial background. And even if you come from a good financial background, it's not a assurance that you will succeed. And even if you come from a good financial background,
yeah, Zanoran, we've lost you, but I think you've put your point across very well. I think this is for Ellie. I can't read the sentence above this, and I don't know how to navigate it. But let me take it from here. This is from Kels, who says, however, for someone with no background in business, finance, marketing, how do you suggest we start with market research, marketing, accounts, etc., in the initial startup phase. In fact, I think all of you can take it. Yeah, Ellie, why don't you start?
Right. I mean, firstly, that's a lot to take at one go. And I mean, what I realized over time is that when we start a business, and that's why most people start with co-founder or, a team, and not, as a sole founder. The reason being that, when we start a business, there are different areas that are important in order to make things happen. So marketing is one aspect, product development is one aspect, operations is one aspect. So you would want, one person, like different people, to take care of different parts so that can come together, to create that business. But for someone who had no experience and no background, like for example, I didn't have an experience when I started when I went ahead with, making herbal teas, but I had to, do my research by first making a checklist of what are the things that I need to understand. And we have to have that, that drive within us to learn about it. I mean, there are so many people who have done something in areas where they have not, been in that industry, that they've not been part of. So I think it's first about doing that groundwork, yourself, starting from scratch. That's what it's called, and then trying to figure out like who are, what kinds of people do I need, or what kind of help do I need, and try to reach out to those people.
Yeah, I think you've put it so well. As entrepreneurs, there are so many different facets of running an enterprise, and we don't necessarily have to have all those skills. It's basically to have the overview in place and get the right team for the right area. Pui, would you like to take that?
Yes. First, I would like to answer Tedonshim on her question of entrepreneurship is for those who come from family with good financial background. Like for me personally, people assume that just because I came back from the US that I would be coming back with a big chunk of dollars. It's not always true. I worked and I survived. That was my life there. And when I came back, people were like, "Oh, you must have a lot of money to start entrepreneurship." No, I don't really. And you don't need to have money. I mean, it is easy if you have money, if you have good financial support. It is easy to start a business. It is easy to embark on the entrepreneurship journey. But if you don't have the passion, if you don't have the what it takes to to work hard, and if you don't have positive mindset, then it will not be successful. It is really easy with money. You can do everything with money, but without passion, without hard work, it will not be successful. So I think hopefully that will answer the Donshim's calling. If you want financial, I would say if you want on financial like help, there hopefully in your state there are many under the government. I think you can go to like the planning department in your state, in your capital. Just go to like some government department, and I'm sure people would be happy to help you if you tell them like, hey, I want to do something, I want to start something, I don't know where to go. Just go to like your planning department, reach out to people, and people will be happy to help you if you want like good financial assistance, like in terms of getting loans from the bank. People will tell you, oh, this loan is good for women. This loan is good for like entrepreneurship. This loan is good for people in agriculture. So there'll be like people would be willing to help you. I think you just have to reach out if you want financial help. And to answer Kel's question, for someone with no background in business, marketing, and finance, I think I suggest if you want to do marketing research is if you're like, let's say I'm in cheese industry. What I did my marketing research is that I went to stores, so who were selling cheese products. I went them, I asked them questions. I asked them like what type of cheese they use, where they get their cheese from. So I was asking questions. So I went around the city asking questions, doing market research, and I talked to people who were, baking. I went to different people regarding like, oh, where'd you get your cheese? Like, what type of cheese is the best? But I think I just went out there, asked questions. And for marketing, I think there is no better marketing than social media. So I think everyone has access to the internet. So I think you really utilize like Instagram and Facebook to do your marketing for your business. And it's really easy to access, for your customers and for you as well. In terms of accounts, regarding the bank accounts, also do your research on Google, see what is best for you, see what's best for you, like your company, because a lot of banks offer like different like incentives if you sign up with them. So really do your research regarding your bank account, see what's best for you. Hopefully that answers the questions.
Yeah, you've answered that very, very well. And yeah, to start off anything, I think it always helps to have done your fair share of research. Research will prepare you for your way forward, and also if so, yeah. And now I think we are in a generation where we can do most of our research on the internet. There is so much available there on the internet. So yeah, research on what you want to do before you start off anything, so that you're well prepared.
I would like to add, the most important thing if you're starting a business is know your target market.
Yes.
Like be very sure of who are buy your product. So yeah, sort it out, do your research, really know your target market. Well, I think that would be my advice to all.
Yeah, very well said. That's how you go on business competition. Yeah, it's so important. It's so important to have a business plan in place before we actually venture out. Yeah. Do we have Zenorin? Would Zenorin like to add anything to this? Or any last questions from anyone? I think we don't have any more questions. So I would like to invite Anirban and Nidhi to come, share a few words with our audiences.
Vimla.
Yeah. Hi, Nidhi. Can we see you? Yeah. So it's only going to be you. Anirban's not joining you.
Let's see if I can get Anirban.
Okay. It'll be lovely if you could say a few words to our audiences.
Yes, for sure. And I've been enjoying the show. I've been hearing all the wonderful stories and some stories that I have heard before and some that I have not heard before. And I say that no matter how many times I hear these stories and I interact with all the lovely women entrepreneurs, it's always inspiring. I think I've said this every time I've come out of a physical training session also with other fellow women entrepreneurs, that whenever I come out of the room, I feel there's so much more to do with Dhriiti. I have to go back and get to it. So
yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I think with her tribe, what all of us are trying to do is, we spoke about it in bits and pieces during the chat as well, that there is a need to find, to firstly know that there are more people like you and more people like me who are around. It's not that it's a lonely journey. It does seem, I've been an entrepreneur for the past 16 years and I know it's a very lonely journey because everybody around you tells you things. I think Pui just said it, that, or Zenorin said it, that they will tell you things about entrepreneurship without being entrepreneurs themselves. So you're like, you really don't understand, but you are coming and advising me. So it's a lonely journey. And with her tribe, part of the objective is to actually make us all feel that we are not alone. But for me, her tribe is also a celebration. It's a celebration of everything we choose to do or not do as women entrepreneurs. And at Dhriiti, we've been working very hard, focusing a lot on how women run businesses and how women start and run their entrepreneurial journeys. And it's not the same as as their male counterparts. And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying that it might be different. They might choose to do things differently. Their management style might be different. The way they make their decisions, the criteria they use. We heard a lot about passion today. I don't know if we would have heard the same words that we heard today if we had a mixed gender panel or a male panel of entrepreneurs. We heard a lot about finding my purpose, my why. We heard a lot about family. So, those are the kind of things that probably women prioritize, and it's important to understand what's important to them. So her tribe is a celebration of how we as women choose to run entrepreneurial ventures. And that needs to be celebrated. So for me, it's about finding your tribe, but it's also about celebrating what we have chosen to do.
On that note, let's give a warm welcome to our tribe. Yeah, is Anirban with us?
He is.
Yup. Hi.
Like many of us here, we also are a husband-wife duo who run an entrepreneurial venture, so we can relate to some of the work-life balances that Zenoran was talking about, and Vimla, I'm sure you also, have experienced that. Yeah.
I think hearing all of today, one of the things that I surely feel is that this tribe needs to grow, and this tribe needs to be a strong one, which connects all of Northeast together. And if you're able to do that, that will be a fantastic thing for Northeast and for women entrepreneurs in the Northeast. So taking this celebration, taking this entire concept of her tribe to each and every corner of Northeast, you should be looking at, and all women entrepreneurs here, you should be taking the mantle of communicating and building her tribe across the Northeast. So all on to you, all for you people. You should be now taking it over.
Cheers to that. And now, before we end, can we have all our participants switch on the camera so that we could take a group photograph? It'll be nice if everyone can switch on the cameras. Hi, lovely to see your faces. And I have some old school friends who are joining me here today. Thank you so much for the support and joining the tribe. Wow, so lovely to see your faces. Yeah, everyone can. I think there are a few of us who haven't switched on the cameras. If you can, and if your connection permits, it would be lovely to see your faces. I think we got it, and my heartfelt thank you and gratitude to everyone who's been here today, joining our tribe, supporting us. Together, let's inspire, support each other, and keep the tribe. It would be nice if you could share your feelings, emotions, any thoughts, any feedback, how did you feel? So what can we do to make it better? We'd love to hear from you. And team, where can our audiences send in their thoughts and feedback? I can just announce that. Do we have?
For one, they can use the chat right now if they want to share their feelings. And then they are all well connected with the team in any case. So any feedback, after thoughts, after feelings, suggestions. We have more episodes coming up, and we are sort of working on.
Thank you so much, Marina. I'm so glad we could inspire you. Together, let's let's grow our tribe, help each other grow. Yeah, I think we can bid goodbye to each other. Thank you so much for being here with us. We'd love to see you in our other episodes. This is going to be a monthly, so we'd love to see you and keep growing together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Ritu, would you like to say something to everyone? So Ritu is the one who's put this show together, the brains behind the show. So yeah, Ritu, wave out to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Cheers to her tribe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.